All right, guys. I want to talk to you about something today that hopefully will strike home with some of you. It depends on your station in life, where you find yourself at. Um, Many men are pretty dissatisfied with their life. Not all the time. Not all the time. It comes and goes. It doesn't matter who you are, how much money you make, what you've accomplished, what your given occupation is, who loves you and who doesn't. The feelings of dissatisfaction are experienced by everybody. But what I want to address is something a little more chronic than that. And that is if you tend to be in a slump where you just can't seem to feel right about things and you're wondering what to do about it. And that's kind of what I want to address here and talk about, because I know what this is like. I mean, it's something that's just very real and very common to the human experience. So I watched a video the other day, not completely because it's an over an hour long video and I just haven't had time to devote to all of it. I'll go back and finish it later, but it's by a doctor. I'll try to link it at the end of this or somewhere down the description. I don't know if he's a doctor of behavioral science or he's a psychologist or what he is, but he was talking about the man of action versus inaction. That's not what the title of it was, but that's the gist of it. And how to make that shift from inaction to action. And he had a lot of good things to say. And the reason why I'm talking about it and not just telling you to go watch it, which you should, but is because some of you may never see this. It may never show up in your feed. And I can't articulate everything he said because I don't know everything he said. But he said enough that made me think. And so now I can kind of elaborate on it a little bit after I've stewed on it for a few days. And that is, you know, if you feel like there's something that you should be doing and you're not doing it, that can make you feel pretty terrible. That feeling of having no accomplishment in a given area is one thing. And then a lot of times you don't know what you want to do, but you feel like you should be doing something. And you're being kind of hard on yourself. And the reason why that is, I believe, and this is just my thought. This is just my thoughts and my opinions. Men are programmed to be very performance based, and I'm not saying that's completely wrong, but we're only allowed or given certain benefits in life if we perform the correct way. If we perform up to a certain level, we know that. We're taught to be honorable, to be respectful, and to bring home the bacon. No matter how society tends to look at things, we're told that we need to perform in certain ways, or else you're just not going to receive the benefits in life that you like. And this is what we're accustomed to. And if you're honest with yourself, you'll probably realize that you can't really say that you haven't done anything. You're just not where you think you ought to be. All right? And what I liked about this doctor is he was talking about how even what we consider inaction is oftentimes action. Everything, we're always active. Even if we're just sitting on the sofa playing video games and stuffing our face full of Cheetos, we're still doing something. And we've got to learn to redefine what something is, what action is versus inaction. So inaction is more or less a myth. We just believe that we should be doing something else, and maybe we should be, you know? But there's all sorts of reasons why we're not where we think we ought to be. Maybe we're physically tired. Maybe we're emotionally exhausted. I know men aren't supposed to talk about that. At least that's, you know, given the generation that I grew up in, and listening to the generation before me, men don't talk about stuff like that. But we're learning differently now. Men are emotional too. We just handle them differently, and we should. But maybe you're emotionally exhausted. Maybe you're financially drained. Maybe opportunities just have not seemed to come your way, and you can't figure out why you're not getting a break. Maybe you don't feel talented enough, or maybe you don't feel like you measure up the way you ought to be able to perform certain functions. And all of this weighs on us, and it makes us feel less than. And it drives us into a slump where we feel like I can't even do anything anymore, even if I wanted to. And that just makes us feel worse and worse. We just feel like we're doing nothing. The truth is, we're doing something. And I think it's important to be honest with ourselves and realize that we are always doing something, but maybe we need to be doing something else. Action is just a part of our life. It's what we always need to be involved with a caveat. And I never thought about it in ways like this until I listened to this man on YouTube. But the greatest way for any man to live is to be a man of action. And it might be that right now you're just not doing what you should be doing. I'm not saying you're doing something wrong. I'm not saying that it hasn't been right. Maybe it's been right for a while. Maybe you've been doing what you should be doing, but maybe things need to change and you don't know what that is. And what I liked about what this man said is that maybe you just need to stop doing something in order to find out what action you need to take. It's not that you need to replace it with a different action. You just need to stop doing this other thing in order to find out what it is you need to be moving on with. Now that's a lot to wrap your mind around, but it's something you really need to give some thought to. Because we always feel like if we pull back, if we delete, if we extract something from our life, we need to replace it with something else. You know, like people who drink or people who smoke, if they want to give that up, if they want to give up a bad habit and they want to improve their life, they need to replace that with something, not just get rid of it. But that's not what this man was saying. And you know what's very reassuring? Because we're so performance based, we feel bad if we don't have something else we can do. What he was saying was, stop doing some of the things that you're doing. Just stop and rest. Just rest. The way he worded it, and I'm not sure I'm getting this completely right, but I'm going to give you the basic, the gist of it. He said, you have to give the universe a chance to unfold to you what you need to be doing. The way I would word that is, give God a chance to reveal to you what your next move is. Now, however you choose to think of it, don't forget the main point here. Sometimes it just requires us to stop. Sometimes it's important for us to wander out into the desert and be alone for a while. Some of you might have a boat and you go out into the water for a while. But I'm talking about someplace mentally. It could be physical. It could be you need to get away from others in your life who you feel like are dragging you down. They don't appreciate your contributions. They don't appreciate what you're doing for them, the hard work you put in, and now you're questioning everything you've ever done, and you feel like you need to do something else, but you don't know what it is, and now you feel like a man of inaction. I'm telling you you are not a man of inaction. You just need to change what you're doing, but you might need to rest first and allow different ideas and different things to come into your life. It doesn't mean that you just sit back and just wait for everything to fall in your lap. To some degree, I do believe that happens. And it could happen that way. But I think a rested mind is going to be open and more prone to receiving positive input. And when that happens, you'll know how to move forward. And it doesn't mean that you have to be working on a life project. It doesn't mean you have to change your occupation. It doesn't mean that that you have to have everything in line to start. You know, a lot of us might feel like, well, I have ideas, but I don't feel financially ready for it. I don't feel like I'm, mentally in that place where I need to be to start. I don't have the time. I don't have the support that I need from others. And all those may be very real, but I think it's important to just start doing something. And if you don't know what that is, and if you feel just exhausted right now, take some time to wander out in the desert alone and be with your thoughts. Allow yourself to not know what to do. Allow yourself to be tired. Allow yourself to just do nothing, which is a form of action, by the way. But it might be the action you need to take right now. And when you do that, you don't have to be you don't have to be making life-changing decisions. You could join a club. You could join a gym. You could become part of a men's group at a church, or maybe not. Maybe that's not your thing. Maybe you could start a YouTube channel. Maybe you could start a book reading habit, as opposed to reading just menus, right? I don't know why I put it that way, but you could start some kind of a habit, and it might be a lot of different things that you could assume. See, I don't know about you, but I know there's got to be a lot of guys just like me, that have similar personalities. We're all or nothing kind of guys. And so you might be thinking to yourself, well, I want to do something, but I'm not sure I could give all of myself to it. You don't need to. You don't need to give all of yourself, and you don't need to perform at 100%. You might think, well, I'm not talented enough for that. You don't need to be. Take some time to rest, and then come back, remain open, come back, and just start taking action with something, whatever it might be. And when you do, you're going to feel renewed. You're going to feel either like a new man or a better man. It'll make all the difference in the world. I hope that's helped. I appreciate you watching. Leave a comment down below. Give me your thoughts. And share something down there with other people that, maybe you've been through this and you might have a different take on something and others need to hear about it, and reading your comment might have helped. So anyway, like the video, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and tap the notification bell. Join me on my next one. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. In the meantime, be wise.